Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's session. My name is Anka. I'm a social media strategist here at SocialBee, and today is a reason for celebration. Hi, Ovi. How are you? Today, our CEO, Ovi, is here joining us for a special reason.
Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be able to celebrate together with the whole team. More celebration is, of course, coming up for the team, but to also celebrate with our customers and people who are interested in social media in general.
Where are you right now? I see that you're not in your usual setup.
I'm actually in the airport right now, traveling from Frankfurt, Germany to Romania, so we can party together this weekend in a nice cabin with the SocialBee crew. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all.
Awesome. Me as well. In the meantime, in the chats with us is also our colleague Andrea, who's here always to help us with anything chat related. If you have any issues, if you have anything to add, anything like that. Also, feel free to say hello in the chat. Tell us how you came to find out about SocialBee. If you're a new user, if you've been with us for a while now, we're looking forward to hearing a lot more about your story with SocialBee as well, not just ours. But in the meantime, I want to hear about SocialBee's story directly from one of the co-founders. So Ovi, what are you able to tell us about SocialBee? How did it come to be? How it evolved over time, things like that.
So together with Vlad, my co-founder, we started SocialBee almost 8 years to the day. That's why we're celebrating now. And actually, before SocialBee, we had a different idea. It was a different startup, which was actually quite hard to turn into a business. But by trying to grow that startup, we came up with the idea of SocialBee. And when we saw that customers were willing to pay for something which, to be fair, was extremely rudimentary, like the first version of SocialBee was Google Sheets integrations and Zapier Sheets, and each time we had a new customer, I had to manually onboard them, and like it took a couple of hours just to onboard each new customer. But even though the solution was so rudimentary, people were willing to pay for it. So we knew that we were onto something because it's a pain that people want to solve. And since then, we just focused on SocialBee, and crazy to think that we're still here 8 years later and with still so much things that we want to do and accomplish.
And what a great idea it was. I actually have a little surprise for you. I have a snippet from your first ever webinar showcasing what is the first non-beta interface of SocialBee. Do you remember that?
I think I do, but I'm really curious to see it.
Okay, so I'm just bringing in a little snippet from it. So it's not going to be the full thing. It's a full webinar here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So this is what SocialBee is to look like. I've muted Ovi in this webinar so that we don't talk on top of each other. But tell me, how does this make you feel? Having this dashboard.
Yeah, it's nostalgic for sure. But I remember, like, this was already the good-looking dashboard. We had a dashboard before that, which was with a blue and with a logo that I designed in PowerPoint, which that one didn't look good at all. Like, this one is already looking decent. Of course, we've gone a long way since then, but it's really cool and interesting to see. And it's also interesting to see or to remember a time when I used to do these webinars.
Right.
And I'm so happy that you do them now because you're much better at them than I am.
Well, I was so nervous for this first one. I remember it was like, I think it was early in the morning for us or late at night, one of the two. And I remember I was super scared of popping live. And look at me now.
Yes, you're a natural.
Okay, so I remember with this webinar that there was a drinking game. Every time you drank water, people in the chat made a drinking game from it. So I'll use that as a segue to ask you, what's your favorite memory of SocialBee?
We can still have a drinking game. I'm still like drinking lots of water. So happy to do that. Yeah, there are many memories, both good and like challenging moments, because for sure it's been a roller coaster. But one memory that comes to mind now, and I'm actually going to turn this to you and see if you can guess who this colleague of ours is. We were before the COVID times. When we still had an office and people used to go to the office, we were in an office on Horia, and then we had you know already what I'm trying to say, maybe.
Yes.
So we had one of our colleagues who came in for an interview, and then as they went to talk to HR, they stopped by my desk and said,
You're
some
some
sort
of
of
a
a
boss here.
Yeah, exactly. You're some sort of a boss, aren't you? I guess you know who I'm talking about.
I do know. Andrada, shout out to you. You are still one of the greatest people I know.
Indeed, she's been with us also for many years now. Started on a position as being a B, and then continued with some customer support, and now she's making sure that our app is properly tested. But yeah, that's one of the fun memories.
Yeah, yes. She's one of the greatest bees on here. Not that everyone else isn't great. We are all awesome.
Yes, that you are.
So, where do you see SocialBee headed next?
Oh, so we have a lot of things that we're definitely working on, and the things that we still want to build. We're working on many more AI features that we want to integrate into our platform. And then we're also working on improving the UX, which is something that we constantly do. But for sure, many more interesting features are coming, and we can make them all public because we also want to keep a bit of a mystery and a bit of surprise.
Yeah, there's always fun in a little bit of a surprise. And actually, if you stick with us throughout this whole webinar, you might get a surprise as well. Just as nice. A celebratory thing. By the way, do you have any champagne?
I do not, but for sure we will drink quite a bit.
I have mine here.
Nice, nice.
So we have to actually celebrate. I mean, I guess we will soon.
Hey, Neil.
In the meantime, I see people in the comments saying happy birthday, Neil. Always nice to have Neil in the webinars with us. Anne says that she's been with SocialBee since 2018. So almost as long as I have. So
nice. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always great to hear when people have been with us for a long period of time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's super fun to see these names that I've actually worked with in the past so long before getting to do the webinars. So it's amazing. It's a blessing, really.
For sure.
Okay, Ovi. So I know you have a flight to catch. I'm going to let you drop off. That way you can focus on getting here safe so that we can party. I see Anne said in the chat, back then, Ovi had a free ebook on how to grow your Twitter following. Yeah.
Indeed, that's one of the things that really helped us grow at first, but social media has changed quite a lot since then.
Exactly. Twitter is no longer Twitter. It's X.
Yeah, for one, yeah.
Yep. So now we have an X ebook.
Nice.
Awesome. So here's what's going to happen next. We are going to answer your questions if you have any. I'm going to go through and showcase a little bit of what we're doing to celebrate our 8th anniversary, which is amazing. I'm also going to show you a little tiny bit of the platform, just as a snippet, as a preview for next week's webinar, which is a full webinar walkthrough, just like I always do on a monthly basis. We also have some gifts for you. So there's also that. If you have any questions for Ovi, and I do see one in the chat, and asks, is there cake? That's a very important question.
There's always cake.
There's always cake. So yes, we'll post a picture probably somewhere on our stories with the cake that we have to celebrate once we're all together at the cabin.
For sure. I'm gonna say bye because I need to go and catch my flight. I'm really looking forward to meeting the team, and have a great webinar. And thanks for everybody who joined live, and thanks for everybody who was a part of this long and ongoing journey.
Much love. I'm having confetti here.
Nice.
I was waiting for an opportunity to use these. So
nice.
I'll see you soon. Have a safe flight.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so now that it's back to just us, let's talk a little bit about what you can get with our birthday deals, right? There's always going to be deals. We want to share the love over with you. So if you're not yet a SocialBee customer and you want to be, let me actually share my screen a little bit, because we do have quite a few things to go through. Let's see. Can you still see my screen? You can now, right? I have to reopen the chat. Yes. Okay. So we're celebrating 8 years of SocialBee. And you can get, if you're not yet a SocialBee customer, you can get up to 80% off on monthly plans for 3 months in a row. So the first 3 months, if you want to just get started with SocialBee, you can get a plan for as low as $5 per month for the first 3 months, which is amazing, right? You can get started, get used to the platform, get your strategy going for as little as almost $6 for the bootstrap plan. There's also yearly discounts, and these ones will get you 40% off of the yearly plans for SocialBee, and you'll notice that the plan is already discounted here, but in SocialBee, in your SocialBee account, you'll have to add the code SBDay2024 in order to take advantage of either one of these deals. And if you're struggling, if you want help with any part of your social media or digital marketing, you can always get 20%, well, not always, now you can get 20% off of 3 months of our concierge services, which are designed to help you get through the rough patches when you don't have time to handle it, or just have someone to deal with everything social media related for you so that you can focus on the other super important aspects of your business. So with the services, you'll see that they're already discounted within SocialBee, but if you don't want to use SocialBee as the platform and you're thinking about the concierge services, you can also use it in on their own. I think I already had some champagne. What? So you can use them on their own by going to conciergebee.com, which is our sister company, and using the same code SBDay2024. So this will give you 20% off of the services for the next 3 months. Now let's move into the more juicy things, because you also have the opportunity to win some things here. And this is what you can win in SocialBee right now from a few days ago, from May 27th until June 3rd. If you share your love for SocialBee online and use the hashtags and everything that we, Andrea, can you actually add them in the chat here so that we have them on hand? I think there's a specific hashtag that you need to use and tag us on social media in order to qualify, but essentially you'll be able to win SocialBee merch representing here. It's not going to be this exact t-shirt. This is an older rendition, but you can win a t-shirt with SocialBee. You can win a mug with SocialBee, which I don't have anymore because I broke mine, or a tote bag with SocialBee. And that's just few tiny prizes that you can win. But the bigger ones are the lifetime plan that you can win with SocialBee. So you can actually win lifetime access to SocialBee with any updates and upgrades that it comes afterwards. No more subscriptions, no more payments, no more nothing. You have the chance to win a lifetime deal with us. And if you have been with us for a while, you know that we no longer offer any lifetime deals. So this is a big deal. And if not, you can also get 1 year free of SocialBee. So these are the prizes that you can win. Andrea already added in the chat. You can add the hashtag 8 years of SocialBee to your posts and make sure you mention us when sharing the love about SocialBee. So with that in mind, let's get into the actual walkthrough. I'm going to walk through a little bit of each type of section that SocialBee has. Just as a reminder, we do these monthly walkthrough webinars where I go from head to bottom in the platform and show you everything there is to know. And the next one is going to actually be next week. So Andrea can also add the link to that in the chat. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to say to us, that you want to ask us, you can use the Q&A box, which is, I think it's supposed to be at the bottom of your screen. There's a Q&A and 2 chat bubbles there. And if you have any questions, I will keep an eye on that and address them from there. So you can still see my screen here. And typically what you hear me say is that SocialBee tends to fix a few issues. And some of those issues are guesswork, being in a rut with your content, not having enough ideas, maybe having a creative block, maybe not having enough time to work on your social media properly, maybe not knowing how to create a good strategy for your business if you're a solopreneur and you're starting from scratch with no team. So there's no way you can do everything all at once. So obviously something will have to suffer so that you can have your attention focused on the most important aspects of your business, whether that is social media or not. That is really up to you and your individual business. But to make life easier when it comes to social media, that's when SocialBee comes into play. So what you're seeing right now is SocialBee's dashboard. This is where you get to connect all of your profiles and toggle them on. And you see how much of an improvement this is from the initial dashboard that I showed you earlier. It's so much better now, and it's going to get even better because, hint, hint, one of the things on our roadmap for this year is to do another UX UI refresh to make it even more easy to use and friendly to the user. So that's coming in. I'm super excited to get that showing. In the meantime, though, you can connect a lot of profiles. When we first started, SocialBee was only able to connect maybe Facebook, I believe LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google+, which at the time was Google+. But now we have a lot more social profiles. So now you can connect anything from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Pinterest, Google Business Profiles, TikTok, YouTube. You even have a Blue Sky integration, which is a Twitter alternative. And we also have something called universal posting. Universal posting is a way for you to publish content to any social media platform that doesn't have a direct integration currently with SocialBee. So that means Facebook groups, which was part of SocialBee until Facebook removed that access from their API. So now no one can actually schedule content to Facebook groups. You can do so with universal posting and mobile reminders. The thing about universal posting is that it shares content by sending a push notification in the SocialBee mobile app so that you can finish posting anything that you might need to. And you can use this, as I said, with Facebook groups. You can use it with threads. You can use it with WhatsApp, Quora, Reddit, anything really, anything that that you need to post to, essentially. So this is everything that you can connect to SocialBee, right? SocialBee then has 4 main sections when it comes to the things that it can do. And I like to split them into the content section, which is the first 2 icons here. So the content menu and the social media copilot. Then you go into the scheduling section, which is the schedule setup and the next posts. Then you move into analytics, which is a section of its own, so that it removes the guesswork that you're doing. And finally, you also have the engage section, which will help you manage and monitor your social media a lot easier. And of course, if you have concierge services, you can also use the SocialBee services to fill in any intake forms or give us any feedback or things like that. So let's start with the content menu a little bit. The things you can do in SocialBee with the content menu used to be organizing your content in categories. It used to be publishing content through the categories and just importing some links, importing maybe an RSS feed, and somewhere along the way, the Pocket integration came to be. So that used to be it. Nowadays, it's a lot more exhaustive, this list. So you'll see that now we have hashtag collections. This is a way for you to store hashtags so that you have them ready to use for whenever you're creating content. There's several ways to import content in bulk, from CSV files to links to import media. Zapier for more advanced integration so that you can create an ecosystem with other tools that you might be using. We also have a browser extension. There's a content approval flow. This will allow you to review and approve content as well as communicate with your team within SocialBee internally. So that way, if I wanted to, I could leave a note to Andrea. I'm sorry, Andrea, I always tag you in these, so I must spam your inbox like crazy. But I'm going to type in ignore this, just like I usually do. And basically, you can mention whoever needs to take care of that particular post, maybe with some feedback that's a lot more cohesive and coherent than mine is. Essentially, you could add here, this post is something that we could create on a regular basis, or you can add something like, I don't know, I need to change the image, the copy needs to be in a specific way, anything like that. So you can use these internal notes to tag members from your team and communicate with them so that you can get the approval for whatever is needed. In the categories itself, though, now things have changed because now we have two systems when it comes to posting. And by the way, when I do this, Zoom sends balloons. So also celebratory. So now we have two systems in place for whenever you want to create content and schedule content. There's the system that we always had, the category-based system, and there's also a queue-based system, which is where you schedule your content at specific time and dates whenever you want to schedule it. And you see it here marked content without a category because it's not mandatory for you to organize it into a category in order to post it. Although, my opinion, it does help. I see a question in the chat. When is the webinar I mentioned for next week? It's going to be on, I believe, the 4th of June. Andrea, if you can, oh, there we go. Yeah, it's on the 4th of June, 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can register on the link that Andrea added. Thank you for being so much quicker than I am, Andrea. Okay, so categories. There are three things that I always say about categories and how they're able to help you. One being the fact that you can organize your content. You can always be aware of your content pillars. Two, being the fact that you can schedule categories instead of individual posts. So that way you don't have to go post by post and choose a date if you know that you're going to use the same day of the week every time. So if you have things like a weekly blog post every Wednesday. And then third is the fact that you can repurpose and maximize the reach of your existing content, especially if that content is not time sensitive, by requeuing it. And I'll share a little more on how you can do that. But categories in itself, in themselves also have a lot more going on. So you can pause categories, you can treat them as campaign folders so that you can activate them and deactivate them whenever needed. You can schedule them and deschedule them whenever needed. You can enable the requeue or disable it, and you can even use them as random. So in case you want to be more spontaneous with your content, or you have a few categories that you want to mix up in one posting time, you can use the randomize here to do so. But you also have URL settings. You can integrate with different short link providers in SocialBee. You can add a short link, you can add UTM parameters directly to your category, and that way you can make sure that your category is going to set you up for the data, and so removing the guesswork from it. Now, what happens if you have a creative block, if you don't know how to use these categories, if you don't exactly know what content pillars you have? Well, there are two things that can help you within SocialBee. One of them being some preset categories that you'll see the first time you create a new account or a new workspace even. And by the way, if you don't know what workspaces are, it's a sub account in SocialBee that will help you split your profiles into different drawers, I would say, sub accounts, so that you don't accidentally post to the wrong profiles. You can give access to other people to just those workspaces. So for instance, this is actually Ovi's account. He gave me access to his workspace so that I could show it to you in here. Yeah, so what happens if you don't know how to create them? Well, this is where the AI tool comes into play. SocialBee launched a social media copilot, currently still in beta testing, but it's a tool that can help you generate a strategy or a starting point for your strategy, because it's not quite good if you are not feeding it the right information. So the first thing that happens is that it will ask you a couple of questions. My advice here is to give detailed answers. The more, the better. The more details, the better it can get. Because obviously you can't create something, you can't create a strategy if you don't have all the details. So by the way, you can even edit these. So if you're not happy with the results, you can come back, edit it, give it more detail, or change the detail in a different direction. And then it will ask you to see what social profiles you want to focus on. So you can select the ones that you want to work with. I already have mine selected just to go a lot quicker through these. And then it will start by generating content categories for you. So this is a way for you to look at the content pillars that you can have and figure out if these work for you or not. If they do, you can leave them be. If they don't, you can delete them from here or change them from the settings. Just use them as you please. These are just suggestions. Once you have them, though, it will look at your analytics and it will generate a posting plan based on the best times to post for your particular profiles by looking at when your audience is online and when they are interacting with your content. I'm going to have a sip of water here. Okay. Remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A box. So once you have the categories, once you have the posting plan, you can move on to generate even content ideas. So I already have some generated because these take a little bit of time. So I already have some generated here, and you'll be able to see them in your category. So I went into the client testimonials category and I generated some fake testimonials. Obviously, these are fake. They're generated by AI. But if you want to see the real ones, there's a lot of love on our website. So you can see them there. Anyway, so you have the ideas and you can just click on a post and edit your content to make it work for you. So choose the profiles that you would like to share this on, add your photo, video, Canva work, whatever it is that you need to add. And if you don't have an image, or if you don't know what to add as an image, you also have a note under each post that is generated through the Copilot with a suggestion for a visual that you can create either on your own or by using the AI image generator that we have here in SocialBee. So let's actually see what this looks like, right? When you create a new post, you can do so, by the way, by adding a new post from here at the top. You'll see the post editor, and this is quite feature heavy. So you'll be able to select the profiles that you want to add your content onto. You'll see them all here. So you'll see a preview for each one of these, and then you'll be able to add your caption. If you're editing something from the Copilot, you'll already have the caption here. If you're not and you want to add content or captions, from the AI tool, you have an option to do so directly here. So you can generate captions, you can choose from one of the several presets that we have here. I think I'm going to go with something celebratory. So let's say create a celebratory post celebrating 8 years of SocialBee. Let's see what it comes up with. This is quite vague. I suggest that you add a lot more detail than I did, but just to have fun with it right now, we're going to go with a friendly tone of voice and an approximate of 70, 80 words. I see a question from Roz. What is the hashtag we're supposed to use on the social posts? On the giveaway part, it's 8 years of SocialBee. Hashtag 8 years of SocialBee. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of hashtags, you can also choose for the AI to generate hashtags for your post as well, and also whether you want to include emoji or not. And as many variations as you want, you can just change them from here and then generate, and it will pop up with a lot of emoji apparently. So we're celebrating, let's say we like the second one, and let's say we like the third one because we always love a good bee pun. So I'm going to select those two and I'm going to use them in my post. What this does is that it creates variations for my content, and that way I can post the content multiple times without it feeling repetitive to my audience, because the first time that I share it, variation 1 goes out. The second time that I share it, variation 2 goes out. Now I'm going to remove one of the variations simply because it's easier for me to only have to do each feature once rather than twice, but essentially you can create as many variations as you need, either through the AI tool or manually, which is something that I like to do when promoting the webinars. Sometimes I like to create these countdowns and I create variations for my events through here as well. So let's remove one, leave one here. We're going to add a link to socialbee.com/8 years. Oh my God, I can't spell years. There we go. So this is the page, this one. Oh, it could have been as easy as me copying this, right? But I didn't. Oh, well. So we have the caption, we have the link. We still have some errors though. And SocialBee will warn you if something on your post is not quite right. So you'll be able to see it all in the warning sign that's red here. It's telling me that the content is too big for X. It's also telling me that links are not something that Instagram supports and I need to add an image or a video instead. I do see a question from Mara. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Yes, please add the questions in the Q&A session. I don't want to interrupt and lose ideas on the way. But now that I saw that question, how is it determining what hashtags to generate? I'm assuming you're talking about the AI tool. I think that's a question for AI. It looks at the content and it's going to be hashtags that are content aware. So you can see that for me, because I said write a post on celebrating our 8th anniversary, it's including hashtags like SocialBee turns 8, celebrating 8 years, thank you for your support, spread positivity, sweetness overload because we're bees with honey, be happy. So there's these contextual hashtags that the AI can generate. My advice would be to just look through if you have any good ideas in there and scrap the ones that you don't need. And because I see your follow-up question, how does it look for actual existing hashtags? No, it doesn't. So these are just contextual. They don't have any data behind them. Okay, so let's fix these errors, right? In order to do so, because we have multiple profiles selected, I'm going to click on customize for each profile, and that essentially splits the post into a separate instance for each one of my selected profiles and shows me a warning sign where I still have some issues and I need to fix it. So in this case, I will fix the character length on Twitter by removing these hashtags, maybe just leaving one of them. Let's see if that's enough. No, it's not. Okay, so we're gonna remove this too. There we go, now it's enough. And then on Instagram, it automatically removes the link from me, from my post, and it fetches images from that link so that I can use them in my post, or I can obviously upload something from my computer. I can use Canva to generate content directly in SocialBee, and I can even use Unsplash or Giphy for royalty-free images. So for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to upload my regular sample video in here, and what you'll see is that it automatically picks up that it's a video and it selects feed and reel so that I can actually share my content without issues. Because if I were to add this while it was still feed only, it would go via mobile reminders. And actually, if you let me add a new one here so that we have multiple, so that I can show you what I mean with it. There we go. So when something's not quite right and your post is not able to get shared directly, you'll see a mobile icon popping up on that profile to warn you that that post will only publish via mobile reminders. And you'll see it here in red and directly on the actual profile, just to signal that this particular post goes out via notifications. So if I remove that, it goes back to being normal. There are certain limitations when it comes to posting directly, and these come from Instagram or TikTok or the platforms themselves. So you can look at our help to figure out what the limitations are. Typically with video, it's under 60 seconds. It needs to be vertical, things like that. But you can also change the cover of your image, of your video directly from here. So let's bring those sunflowers back and add them in as a cover. And now my post on Instagram will look like this instead of the actual video. So I can do that on Instagram, I can do that on Facebook, I can even do that on YouTube. TikTok will allow you to change the thumbnail, but only from the frames of your video. And depending on the platform that you're working on, it might have some other features available, like being able to add a first comment to your post, adding a location to your post, switching between reels, feed, posts, changing the cover of your link, things like that. So you can find each relevant feature for each platform once you customize your post for each profile. And then all that's left to do is to schedule your content. And you can do that in one of three ways. You can either post immediately by toggling this on. You can add a specific posting time, which will suggest the best time to post, or you can actually include it in the category of your choice and have it go out like that. So I actually won't save this post just because it's, well, made up. But we do have some posts prepared. So you'll see what I mean, what they look like once we get to that segment. You're also able to requeue your content, as I said, and this will allow you to share that content multiple times. And that way, by the way, you can also expire your post either after it's been published a number of times or at a specific date. And you can save your content as a draft or directly approve it if you want it to go out like so. So I'm going to stop this post. And I'm going to move into the schedule setup part. So the scheduling part is where you schedule your categories. The fact that you can schedule categories is a big deal because you can just organize your weeks so much easier, and it makes creating a content mix a little bit of a breeze. So let me explain. You have this weekly schedule and you have all these categories that I have scheduled in here. Obviously, if you're starting from scratch, you'll have nothing. But you can add in categories and just say something like, I want a weekly blog post every Wednesday at 5 p.m. So that means that judging by the number of posts that I have in that category that are assigned to this LinkedIn profile, because this is only scheduled for LinkedIn, it will go one by one on that time. So first Wednesday would have the first post, second Wednesday, the second post, and so on. And moving further into it, once you have your profiles, your schedule, sorry, created here, you can even filter for one of your profiles. I usually do this for Instagram, and check to make sure that your content mix is good. So if you look at the statistics here at the bottom, you'll see that it tells you how much content you're sharing in a day as well as in a week from each individual category. So it's telling me that Tuesdays I have 100%, I mean the total content, which is one post from my product spotlight category. On Wednesdays, it's total from zero-click content and so on. But if you look at the total per week, it's telling you that I have one post scheduled from that content, zero-click content category, which makes up 25% of my total content for the week. So I can make sure to balance out my content and make sure that I'm not oversharing or undersharing content from a specific category. So for instance, if I'm using something like the 80-20 rule, I am not sharing content too much that's promotional and over promoting my business and not providing enough value. So in order to schedule this, all you need to do is click on add posting time and you'll be able to set it all up directly here. And you can also view this in a calendar view as well. So if you want to see it all in one place, this is the place to be. But if you want to see posts individually and the next post in line, there's a menu that gives you exactly that, the next posts. The difference is that this one is going to force you to look for one profile at a time. So if I filter for Instagram, I'll be able to see my next 100 posts in a list view, and you can see the next posts here. You'll also be able to see them in a calendar view. This is more of a bird's eye view. So it's something that I use a lot when I want to see how much content I have left, if I need to create new content. And right now I can tell that I'm missing one post for the 18th of June, actually missing two more posts in June, 3. I have 3 posts to do by the end of June. So that's something that I can still work on. And then on Instagram specifically, you'll also have a grid preview, and the grid preview will help you show you what your content will look like. And there's a lot of my face. So what I need to do next is to add thumbnails to this so that it's not that much my face from the webinar snippets that we're posting. I'd much rather have a lot more cats on my feed. Anyway, so this is what the content looks like on your feed. You can figure it out if it works for you, if it doesn't, and that way make sure that it's up to your standards. Moving on, I always say that removing the guesswork from your social media content stays in the analytics. So this is where you can look at how your content is performing, how your profiles are performing, how everything is working, and it will allow you to get a better understanding of why certain things are working, why certain things are not working, why maybe your profile is growing, but your profile visits are dropping. It really is very much in the data. So to stick with that, in SocialBee, you can see data for up to 2 years into the past for each one of the social profiles that you have that obviously shares data through their API. And you'll have different time frames that you can use and you can even add your own custom time frame for whenever you want to see a specific time period. Now here you'll have post analytics, which will help you determine how your page is performing, how your followers are evolving, follower count, actually, demographics. You'll see where your audience is from. You'll see engagement information. You'll also see when your audience is online so that you can publish your content when your audience is there to see it. Moving on, you'll also have post analytics, which will tell you the average reach per post. Very important to see if your content is getting the exposure that you want or not yet. It also will tell you the best type of content that you're sharing in that time frame. And so you'll be able to have a good enough picture of what works and why. In here, you'll also see the evolution of your content, so you can see how frequently you're posting. For me, I've had a bit of a gap here in April, so you can see that compared to the rest of the time frame. And you can also see it in the reach evolution as well, which helps determine if you have any spikes in your reach, if you have any drops in your reach, so that you can look at these and figure out why it worked so well, or what worked well, so that you can replicate it in future posts, or on the contrary, what didn't work and why. Maybe it didn't have the right delivery method. Maybe it's not something that your audience is interested in. I don't know. You have to look into the specifics of that post and figure it out from there. Furthermore, you'll also be able to see information averages, I would say, and have them all broken down into category metrics. So split by each category that you have, and types of posts split by every type of post that you're sharing, whether it's a single image post, a carousel, a video, a text post on the platforms where that's something that you would do. Things like that. So it's telling you exactly how each individual type of post works, so that you can determine what works best for your own audience. Then you'll also have some additional insights, and this is something that's really cool. If you look at the purple dots here, it's going to show you when your audience is getting that content. So up until recently, I had this category scheduled at 11 a.m. But my audience, as you can see here, is getting the content sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. So from the time I was posting at 11 a.m. to the time my audience was getting it, the algorithm was already figuring out that, people are not interacting with this content. Maybe it's not something people want. I'm not going to show it as much. So I wasn't maximizing my content, but I've now moved it to 6 p.m. and you can see how bigger that bubble got. So it's actually now I'm sending my content out when my audience is there to see it. So as soon as I post my content, this is a water bottle cap, but let's pretend this is content. As soon as I present my content, the audience is there to see it, to interact with it, and that maximizes the reach for that content piece. You'll also have it all broken down into top performing content, so that you'll be able to see what works best. I'm super happy to see that our birthday posts are what works best, which is great. We're celebrating here. And then you'll also have a complete post history of your content for that time frame, and you can filter it for most engagement, least engagement. You can do best performing, worst performing in different categories, and even chronological order as well. If you're on a pro plan, you're also able to export all of these into a PDF report, where you can also add a logo, a summary, and choose the type of information that you want to include in that report. And that way you would have it all in a PDF style. And finally, the last one is the Engage module, which is the newest one. And I see something here. I need to fix that by reconnecting the profile. But essentially, this module, this tab, this dashboard is here to help you monitor and manage your comments, your mentions, and your DMs across the different platforms that you have. So you'll be able to see them all here. You'll be able to interact with them directly within SocialBee. So you can like it, you can comment on it directly here, and everything. So it's a lot easier for you to interact with your audience and keep your audience engaged, hence the name, by just having it all in one place. So that's it from me. That's it from SocialBee. I'm really curious to see if any of you have any questions that I haven't answered already, because I don't see any in the Q&A anymore. If not, thank you all for joining us to celebrate. Thank you for being here with us for all this time. 8 years is a long time, and I'm grateful enough to have been part of SocialBee for the last 7 years as well, which makes it even more special. Don't forget to use the code SBDAY 2024 to take advantage of the awesome deals that we have. 80% off of 3 months off of any SocialBee plan monthly, or 40% on the first year, as well as 20% on the first 3 months of your concierge services. If you have any questions or anything really that you'd like to say to us, you can always reach out at hello@socialbee.com, or myself personally at anka@socialbee.com. And if you have a question for Ovi, our CEO, who is probably flying all the way here to Romania now, you can email him as well at ovi@socialbee.com. So again, thank you all for being here with us. Happy B-Day, I guess. And I'll see you guys next time with more webinars, more awesome information. And oh, wait, we have a question. How long is that deal good for? That's a great question, actually. So the deal is available until June 3rd on Monday. So you can get it until Monday. I see Neil in the chat saying, would love to see you do a webinar focused on the newest features so that us older users can get the most of SocialBee. We're going to write that down. We are. We do have some feature-specific webinars that we've been doing here and there. So yeah, we'll take a note of that. Thank you for the suggestion. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I do hope you got something out of this webinar. If not, at least had a good celebration party with us today here. I had a lot of fun having Ovi and not being by myself here in the webinar as I normally am. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.